For a band external rotation to press, we're using the external rotation motion that you would normally use just for developing your rotator cuff, and we're taking it on a step from there. Now, you do need a band for this, ideally a mini band or a hip band, whichever you want to call it, and something that is not ridiculously strong. I've got what do I have here? A medium strength one, but you can use slightly stronger ones for this. But there are some bands that are incredibly thick and they're really designed for your legs, and trying to pull these apart would just ruin your form when you're trying to do it. Now, you can use a bigger band, the kind of longer ones, but you just have to you need to use a very light one, figure of 8 it round and create a loop so that you've got a smaller band but it's doubled over. You could try that. But essentially you just need something that's going to give you resistance and it's easy to grip onto. So what you're doing with this is you're trying to use that external rotation motion, but then using the stability of the muscles that are now engaged, you're going to try and press overhead. Now, there's no weight involved. All you're trying to do is keep these muscles engaged the whole time. But you'd be surprised how hard that is when you're trying to engage muscles and keep them in tension at all times. But when you go back to doing any kind of overhead pressing type motion after this, then it should mean that you're stabilizing a lot more through your muscles than through your skeletal system. And that's important because when you get to the top of the motion, it shouldn't be a thing where you go to push. If you're doing a barbell shoulder press and you go to push up, you shouldn't be just driving your arm up and then trying to balance everything on top of the bones that are running through your arm. You should be squeezing in from your upper back muscles and getting them to engage. Now, even if you don't do any overhead pressing of any kind, this is still useful because this is developing strength in these postural muscles in your upper back and engaging a mind muscle connection to be able to help you just engage with them and use them on a day-to-day basis. So it should improve your posture in general. But overall, this is incredibly good exercise for your shoulder health, and I strongly recommend giving this a try. It looks simple. It's one of these ones, again, it's very deceptive when you look at it. It looks simple, but if you're doing it right, it's incredibly effective. You might see when I do this, it's a bit of a tremor starts to happen in there because you're really trying to focus in on these rotator cuff muscles, your rear delt muscles, and as you press, all these muscles come together and you're trying to hold on to them and your body doesn't want to. It wants to let go because it's much easier for you just to push your arm up in the air without engaging all these muscles. But getting that stability from all these other muscles is incredibly beneficial. So I strongly recommend giving this a shot if you can. Okay, so here we go. So hopefully you can see there while I'm doing that, as I press, I dip my chin very slightly, and that's to try and allow all the muscles in the upper back to come together and properly squeeze without my sort of neck getting in the way. It's a lot easier to do that, and even when you're doing like an overhead press of any kind, having a slight movement in your head is always usually a little advisable. It shouldn't be severe because you'll end up causing more problems then. It should be controlled. And you're very deliberately bringing your chin down in order to allow the space up the back for everything to contract and pull together. So try and make sure you're doing that. Now, I would advise as well, if you can use a mirror or something, just to try and make sure that your elbows are doing what you think they're doing and that you're not ending up, as you press, you start doing this, or you're overly pulling with your arms, so you end up out here somewhere. You'd be surprised what your brain thinks you're doing until either someone points it out to you or you see it yourself. So if you can do it in front of a mirror, then great. If you can't, that's fine. Just keep trying it and try and just be very aware of when your elbows are starting to relax. You should know anyway, because suddenly it will just get easy. And it really shouldn't be that easy. It should be fairly easy to stretch the band apart, but it shouldn't be easy to do this whole motion with that band in that stretched position and your elbows tucked in the whole time. So give it a shot, see how you get on. If you get any issues with it, come back to me and we'll see what we can do.